And Anaya, you spoke with the child's family today. What more did they have to say?
Yeah, Rosin, I spoke with that 12-year-old's brother, mom, and cousins off camera. All are very upset about what happened to their loved one. Now, 12-year-old Connor Mullins was that child who attended Russell County Middle School in Seal, according to his brother. He also says Mullins was a good student and received good grades in school. I also got a chance to speak with Mullins' mother. She says she's having a hard time accepting the fact that her son is gone. She added Mullins and his little brother were on his way to Dollar General to buy his favorite snack, Takis chips, when the shooting happened. Along the way, she says her son was caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. The little brother, she says, ran away as fast as he could and hurt his foot in the process. Now, 50-year-old Tywana Jakes is charged with capital murder in this case under Alabama law for allegedly killing a person under 14 years old. Now, sources close to WTVM say Jakes, that suspect arrested in this case, thought that the boys were breaking into a shed when the shooting happened. She thought that she heard gunshots before returning fire last night just before 9 o'clock on Wintry Drive on Highway 80 in Phoenix City. And Jace is expected to appear in court Friday around 9 a.m. In studio, Anaya Spraggs, WTVM News 8 or 9.
Week after a deadly shooting that took the life of a father, DeSoto police have tracked down the suspected shooter, 19-year-old Evan McMarion, in Arizona. Rachel O'Neill spoke to a neighbor who heard the gunshots and then got a knock at the door.
McMarion is awaiting extradition to DeSoto to face charges of capital murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in the killing of 34-year-old Randall Thornhill. That second charge is for injuring 29-year-old Heather French. Police say her 5-year-old son was in the back seat and ran to a nearby house for help.
When the shooting started, the child was just shell-shocked. The mother pushed him down in the back seat, and then after it was over with and she called 911, she prompted him to get out of the car and run up to the house and knocked on the door.
Thornhill's stepfather, Michael, tells us he was a loving man who meant everything to his family. He loved to trick out trucks and go camping to pass the time. But sadly, he's just one of several other victims of violent crime in the city recently, and the police department is taking notice.
On April 22nd, Cameron Kayshawn Collier was shot to death by a 16-year-old juvenile in a robbery. On April 25th, Colby Marquise Graham was shot to death by Cameron's brother.
Graham was shot while attending a remembrance ceremony for Collier when he was targeted. Some of those who live in the city say they're considering moving because of the spike in crime.
I didn't move into a house to then have to think about putting bars up or thinking about I may have to relocate because it's not safe.
City leaders say they're determined to ease fears and curb the crime.
The good news is that our police department has acted quickly and aggressively and tracked down and arrested those who are responsible in all of these cases. And while these shootings are disturbing, they do not represent the overall trend of crime here in DeSoto.
But Gilmore claims the crime has gotten progressively worse within the last year.
Lately, we have been hearing gunshots, like 5 and 6 gunshots. It's like, my granddaughter's in here, let alone I'm here.
To maximize safety, DeSoto PD is implementing new strategies moving forward, including a gun surrender program. They're expecting to release more details on that soon. In DeSoto, Rachel O'Neill, CBS 11 News.
Developments tonight in one of the saddest murder cases the St. Louis Circuit Attorney says she's ever seen. A teenager is now charged in the death of a college student downtown. Fox 2's Andy Banker is live with chilling new details and what they mean for the suspect. Andy.
Yeah, Mandy, everything played out here near the Europe nightclub on 15th Street. Authorities say Christopher Grant walked up on a car with a gun and tried to steal the purse of a woman in the back seat of the car. Then authorities say he coldly shot and killed 19-year-old Bobby Christman when Christman tried to intervene. And that right there makes him eligible for life without parole. And he's only 18. Grant is charged with first-degree murder, accused of killing Christman after deliberation January 11th, with Christman in the passenger seat of the car, his younger brother driving, and a female friend in the back seat.
Mr. Grant got out of his car, approached the car that the victim was in, displayed a gun, and ordered everybody out of the car. At that point, he opened the driver's side door, Mr. Grant did, and he reached in to grab the purse of the young woman in the back seat. The victim tried to intervene. The victim was sitting in the passenger side, and as soon as he did that, Mr. Grant shot the victim in the head and he died. Mr. Chrisman's brother was driving the car, and he had kind of ducked down a little bit.
She says Grant of Collinsville is locked up in Belleville on an unrelated charge. So are two other suspects, 18-year-old Asa Thompson and 19-year-old Tony Ross. Neither has been charged in connection with Chrisman's murder yet, and authorities say they are certain Grant was the gunman. Chrisman was a DeSmet High School grad and a student at Southeast Missouri State, still home on holiday break, shot dead in front of his little brother, allegedly by another teenager.
It's hard to imagine a sadder case than when you have someone so young killed and by someone who is 18 years old.
Grant also faces weapons and attempted robbery charges for this incident, 6 counts total. Illinois State Police picked him up in the last day or two on battery charges and a warrant for illegal possession of alcohol. He'll be extradited to Missouri to face the murder charge here first.
The traumatized victim of an unprovoked road rage attack says his life has been destroyed by pure evil. The Army veteran was stabbed by 2 strangers and left to die beside his car in Altona Meadows. Crime reporter Lana Murphy.
After serving our country, this veteran almost died minutes from home in Altona Meadows.
The usual slideshow of your life goes by when I said goodbye and let go.
Andrew's 2 young children, his final thought as this stranger sprinted towards him with a knife and stabbed him repeatedly in the back.
As he was stabbing me, he was looking at me over my left shoulder, smiling, with big white eyes, and he was enjoying it.
The curly-haired thug and his accomplice ambushed the father as he drove home from the supermarket on Cup Day last year. It was 2:30 p.m. when they started ramming him at random from a grey Volkswagen hatchback.
They broke in front of me, they swerved.
The 54-year-old pulled into Corinza Avenue to escape their rage and instead bore the brunt of it.
A lady saved my life. She held my wounds.
It's extremely violent, and like, Andrew doesn't know who these people are, they don't know who he is. It's just violence for the sake of violence.
With Andrew bleeding on the ground, the attacker got back into the grey Volkswagen. The vehicle last seen driving along Point Cook Road towards Werribee. It wasn't reported as stolen, and police have spoken to the registered owner and ruled them out.
We're not sure who the offender or the driver was, and that's why we're appealing to the public, because someone out there does know.
The broadcast technician spent 18 days in hospital and has been left with permanent nerve damage, but he says the mental toll is the true cost.
Knives destroy lives, and it's destroyed mine.
Lana Murphy, 9 News.
Greenville County 911, what's the location of the emergency?
You have an emergency. Our daughter is unresponsive. She's drunk a lot of water. We're trying to pump, like, CPR to get out.
What address are you at? Well, I'll get you over to EMS. Don't hang up. EMS and fire, what's the address of your emergency? Okay. And the phone number you're calling me from? Is anyone there tested positive for COVID-19 or had a high-risk exposure to COVID-19 positive patient?
No.
Tell me exactly what happened.
Our 3-year-old daughter's choking on water right now.
Your 3-year-old daughter is what?
Choking on water right now. We need help immediately.
Okay. We'll get help on the way.
Okay.
So is she coughing, like choking, or
no,
is she
not
underwater?
The coroner confirms a 3-year-old homicide victim was a foster child in the home where she died. 7 News reporter Ann Maxwell has been looking into this story today.
3-year-old Victoria Rose Smith died on Thursday, according to the coroner. 5 days later, the defendants were charged with homicide by child abuse. The warrants state they had been responsible for the victim's welfare.
She was sweet as could possibly be, so It makes no sense how somebody could hurt her in any kind of way.
Ashley and Alan West last saw Victoria Smith, known to them as Tori, about a year ago. Alan says his aunt was the baby's foster mother for nearly a year before she went to live with the Robinson family.
A fun little girl.
She was funny. She was sassy.
Definitely had some sass to her.
They were shocked when they learned Tori was murdered. Her new caregivers, Jerry and Ariel Robinson, charged with homicide by child abuse. The coroner says she died of multiple blunt force injuries.
I still can't believe that it's true. I just feel like maybe we'll all wake up and it'll be a bad dream.
Ariel Robinson had worked as a teacher in Greenville County from 2016 to 2017. She was also an employee of Lawrence County School District 55 during the 2018 to 2019 school year.
You could not be mad at that girl just by the way she looked and how sweet she was. So I don't understand how this man and woman would have done this to her.
7 News asked the Department of Social Services about the process for vetting the Robinsons and whether the agency had received any complaints about them. DSS responded with a statement saying they are investigating along with law enforcement. They also said, quote, the agency's standard procedures in a case like this involves taking appropriate action with any children remaining in the home. Simpsonville Police, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, and the Coroner's Office are investigating.
A winner of a Food Network competition show is now accused of killing her adopted child. Authorities in South Carolina say 29-year-old Ariel Robinson and her husband, 34-year-old Jerry, were arrested in connection with the death of 3-year-old Victoria Rose Smith, a child they reportedly adopted. They were both charged with homicide by child abuse after the girl was found to have suffered blunt force injuries, according to the arrest warrants.
And the winner of Worst Cooks in America is Ari!
Oh my God! Last year, Ariel appeared in the 20th season of Worst Cooks in America and took home the top prize of $25,000, saying she was going to use it to help her family of 7.
I wanted to win this money so much for them, to give them a better life.
The win made her a local celebrity in her town of Simpsonville.
She's named one of the worst cooks in America, and she's from Simpsonville. Ariel Robinson has become a household name.
And she appeared on many local shows to talk about her win. But since the charges were filed, the whole 20th season of the show has reportedly been removed from all of the Food Network's platforms. Now she and her husband are behind bars after being denied bond, waiting to face the charges against them.
What's going on with your hair?
Maybe it too when I was sleeping.
Oh, what happened to it?
Maybe I was asleep.
You was asleep?
Uh-huh.
What'd you do to it?
Maybe I was going crazy wasn't sleep.
You did what?
Maybe I wasn't crazy when sleep.
You was looking crazy when you was asleep?
Uh-huh.
Oh, girl, what's wrong with it now?
Now he's crazy.
What you gonna do to it?
But don't worry, Mom. You can fix it.
Don't worry, Mom, you can fix it. Yeah, I can fix it.
Yeah, because you put it into water ponytail just when I go to sleep.
Yeah, I can put it in a ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
What we gonna do to it?
But we need to brush it first.
Why?
So it's because it's nappy too.
Oh, we need to brush it because it's nappy?
Uh-huh. It's nappy too.
It's nappy too, girl?
Uh-huh.
Oh, girl, it is nappy, girl.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna fix that. Okay?
And a busted face. Police say this is the result of a hate crime. Thanks for choosing us. I'm Katie Rammel.
And I'm Steve Irvin. Right now, 2 men behind bars accused of attacking 2 other men because they were gay.
ABC 15's Susan Casper explains the life lesson these victims want you to learn.
It's a random act of violence that was targeted on us.
Austin Head is HIV positive and the focus of this documentary. He's heard stories of hate crimes, but until late last week, never thought he would become a victim.
I've always felt safe in downtown Phoenix.
While walking home from a bar late Thursday night, Austin and a friend were allegedly attacked by these men, Ernie and Jermon Barnes. Austin says the two began yelling gay slurs and then began swinging. He was knocked out cold.
After being knocked unconscious, I woke up in the emergency room.
During the beating, Austin suffered cuts, an eye injury, and a broken bone in his face. Police caught up to the pair, charging them with aggravated assault. Since the suspects apparently targeted Austin and his friend because they are gay, police say the charges were elevated.
These two suspects targeted these victims just strictly based on their sexual orientation. Once you start to target people for those types of things, that's what makes it a biased crime.
Austin says he will recover and his pride is intact. With time, he hopes people will learn to accept others.
There's always going to be people who are intolerant of something, and the only way you can combat that is with making your voice heard and educating them.
In Phoenix, Susan Casper, ABC 15 News.
And investigators say if these attackers were cut during this ordeal, they may have contracted HIV because, as you heard in Susan's story, Austin is HIV positive.
Yeah, hard to imagine in this day and age, but we did a little digging on hate crimes to find out just how often these kinds of crimes happen. And according to the FBI, in 2010, nearly 7,000 hate crimes were committed. Of those, 47% motivated by race, 20% by religious bias, 19% motivated by sexual orientation, nearly 13% by an ethnic or national origin bias, and less than 1% against a person with a disability.
I kind of just laid there and played dead. Maybe if they think I'm dead, they're not gonna, maybe they'll stop shooting and actually leave.
And I was terrified. I thought I was gonna lose them.
A gas station clerk was shot by multiple people when he left work. Now the manhunt is on for 4 suspects in what police are calling a well-planned crime. Tonight we're hearing from that clerk who's recovering from multiple gunshot wounds. I'm Kevin Barry.
And I'm John Holt. It happened early Sunday in Independence. Police say one of the shooters, by mistake, left drugs behind at the convenience store. When she came back to learn the store had flushed them, she became irate. Fox 4's Malik Jackson live at Independence Police headquarters tonight after speaking with that wounded clerk. Malik.
I did, John. Hours after he got out of the hospital, one of those bullets still lodged in his leg. Ronald Parsons tells me he will never work an overnight shift again. This all comes as police tonight have released photos, pictures of these 4 suspects that they say pulled off this ambush-style shooting. What started as a normal shift for Ronald Parsons took a turn for the worse as he left work.
That was just a grazing, that right there.
Police say earlier in the night this woman left her keys and some type of drug by accident at the gas station. That was before Parsons got on shift, but within hours she returned.
She starts banging on the window, pounding on the window, saying, hey, where's my stuff?
A clerk who worked the shift before Parsons had flushed the drugs, so the woman could only get her keys back. She left, so Parsons thought. As he prepared to leave work around 6:30 a.m. Sunday morning, Parsons says this man approached him in the parking lot.
And he swings on me, hits me a couple times in the head.
Ronald Parsons pulls off, he says, doing his best to avoid any sort of confrontation. That's when bullets started flying.
I hear a few shots behind me, and then I hear some more shots from the other direction.
Parsons falling off his bike in minutes. The 20-year-old went from working to provide for his family to lying in the middle of the street fighting for his life, playing dead so the shooting would stop. Police are now looking for these people, the ones they believe are responsible for this attack.
This appeared to be kind of a well thought out plan between these individuals, and it is kind of scary because we've got up to maybe 3 people firing at this person, indiscriminately firing at this person. Those rounds have to go somewhere.
It definitely brings life into a perspective that I don't think a lot of people get or have. Makes me grateful I'm here.
Now, do you know who these suspects are? The Independence Police Department wants to hear from you, or you can remain anonymous by reaching out to the TIPS hotline. That's 816-474-TIPS. At IPD headquarters, I'm Malik Jackson, Fox 4, working for you.
And that'll be the legacy that we can make happen for her. You know, what she left behind was helping others.
A big break in the case for the homeless woman found stabbed to death. Tonight, police have her suspected killer in custody.
They arrested 59-year-old Carrie Lon Young yesterday. Police say he killed Margaret Means, who was living in a parking lot near East Washington Street.
Eyewitness News reporter Mary Mills on the relief felt by the woman's friends and family and how they will honor and remember her. Mary?
Well, right now they're in the process of planning a memorial for her here at Holy Cross Church on the city's east side. It won't take place in the former church, but at the adjacent building, a gymnasium where Margaret would go with other homeless folks every night for dinner for the past couple of years. But take a look. This is part of it as well. All these bags filled with donations that have been pouring in since her death last month. We've got all sorts of clothing, brand new. We've got coats, shirts, pants, and shoes. Everything just donated again within the last couple of weeks. And all of this will be given to those who are homeless at that special dinner and memorial, which is set for December 23rd. Now, Lisa Coons has played a role in this. She didn't know Margaret well, didn't know she was homeless, but she started a GoFundMe page to help, with burial and other expenses, raising more than $2,000. Now, some of that's going to go toward what she calls blessing bags filled with toiletries. Each will have a label on it that says, "Margaret means something to us." And she says none of this would be possible without the generosity of strangers.
The greatest majority of people that made donations to the GoFundMe page are not people that I knew. And not people that her family knew either. Her family is still really struggling to cope. And it's complete strangers that have made donations, and I just want them all to know that we're going to do a lot of good with that, and that'll be the legacy that we can make happen for her. What she left behind was helping others.
And she also says if there is enough money left over, they do hope to provide sleeping bags for some of the homeless folks. Also do want to point out that I talked to Margaret's daughter, Julie, this afternoon, and she said that she's very relieved there has been an arrest in the case. And she's also very grateful for the outpouring of support that she has seen in the last few weeks. Very grateful for the kindness and caring.
The woman who lost her job trying to stop shoplifters got her job back at Lowe's. She was fired last week because that was a violation of company policy. WSAV's Eden Hodgins joining us now with what we've learned about the company's change of heart.
Donna Hansborough has been with the Lowe's in Rankin for more than a decade. She talked to WSAV last week about why she did what she did. Now, for the first time, we're seeing surveillance video of the incident.
I really wasn't expecting to be fired because I really loved that job, and I did it to my best.
Donna Hansborough went home from work on July 25th with bruises across her face. In this surveillance video, you can see the 3 suspected shoplifters run out to a black truck waiting, ready for a clean getaway. Hansborough runs after them.
I had a hold of the cart. He told me to let go. I just held onto the cart, and then he hit me. Turned around, he hit me again, and then one more time. I just wanted to get our merchandise. I was just tired of people walking out. I've been at that store for 13 years. It seems like a big family is part of my stuff, and I just lost it.
Since WSAV spoke with Hansborough last week, Lowe's corporate offices contacted her to give her back her job, saying in a statement to WSAV, products can be replaced, people cannot. Over the weekend, a GoFundMe set up for Hansborough raised $25,000 to go toward any expenses she would face while being unemployed. Yeah, we reached out to Hansborough for a comment. We didn't receive an answer. According to a Facebook post made by someone claiming to be her husband, the only condition of her reinstatement is that she does not talk to any more news media. Eden Hodges, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Tonight, the GBI says that it solved a 23-year-old cold case. Tara Louise Baker was found dead after a fire at her Athens apartment back in August of 2001. After 2 decades, the GBI says that it's charged an Athens man for her death. Fox 5's Russ Spencer has details.
A fire at an Athens apartment on January 19, 2001 quickly turned into a crime scene. Firefighters found the body of 23-year-old UGA law student Tara Louise Baker inside.
Are you calling this murder at this point?
Yes. No one in the family or the roommates have any information about who might have perpetrated the crime.
GBI investigators say nearly 23 years later, that has changed. GBI agents say 48-year-old Edric Lamont Faust is charged with murder, concealing the death of another, arson, and aggravated sodomy. The GBI says a friend of Baker's was the last person to see her alive at the UGA Law School library the night before the fire. Students who lived nearby told Fox 5 they were living in fear a day after the killing.
I think a lot of people are just scared because of all the break-ins and the car vandalism, and now this is like what's going to happen next.
There have been random people wandering around, and it's just not a very safe neighborhood.
Who thinks of houses being set on fire, especially 2 houses down and then over here?
Tara's killing led state lawmakers to pass the Coleman-Baker Act last year. It established a 10-agent GBI unit dedicated to solving cold cases. That same unit partnered with Athens police to review the case last September. And 8 months later, GBI Director Chris Hosey says he hopes the arrest helps bring some closure to the Baker family.
That was Russ Spencer reporting. More than a half a dozen agencies worked on this case. Governor Brian Kemp posted on X earlier tonight that he hopes that Tara's memory lives on through the good work of the GBI Cold Unit case. As for the suspect, we're working to find out when he will appear in court.
Tonight is saying a new examination of biological and DNA evidence led to the arrest of a suspect in a 23-year-old cold case out of Athens.
That's right. The victim here was Tara Baker, a 23-year-old law student at the time. We want to head out to 11 Alive's Doug Richards live at GBI headquarters. Doug, what are investigators saying today?
Well, investigators were certainly very guarded this afternoon as they were discussing what new evidence led them to the break in this case, but they did say that it was biological and DNA evidence that ultimately produced the arrest that was made last week. Tara Baker was a University of Georgia law student whose body was found in a burned apartment building where she lived 23 years ago. Last week, police arrested 48-year-old Edric Lamont Faust and charged him with felony murder. Police said there's no evidence that Baker and Faust were acquainted. At a news conference, Baker's mother and sister spoke to reporters expressing gratitude for the work of a cold case squad assembled last year, which re-examined existing evidence and came to the conclusion that they could identify a suspect. This was the victim's mother speaking a little while ago.
I'm Tara's mother. I always will be Tara's mother. But there's so many people to thank. I'm so grateful. I want people to know that prayers work. Don't ever stop praying. Don't ever stop having hope in your heart, because it can happen.
So investigators declined to specify what that specific evidence was that led to the break in the case, except to say that it was a fresh set or several fresh sets of eyes examining evidence that had been gathered over the years that ultimately led them to the arrest of a case that happened in 2001. 23 years ago.
The search for a suspected killer in decades in a cold case comes to an end. 23 years after the death of a UGA law student, police have now arrested her accused killer. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News at 4. I'm Christine Spiro. Firefighters found the body of 23-year-old Tara Louise Baker in her burned Athens apartment in January of 2001. Fox 5's Kim Leffler joins us from GBI headquarters with more on this major development. So, Kim, have you heard from Tara's family about this news, and what are they saying?
Well, in a statement, Tara's family says they're grateful for law enforcement's efforts all these years later, as well as the community support. Now, this comes as we're learning more about Tara's accused killer's criminal history. An Athens Clark County judge denied bond Friday morning for 48-year-old Edric Lamont Faust. He faces several charges, including murder, concealing a death, arson, and aggravated sodomy in connection to the death of 23-year-old Tara Baker. Arrest warrants obtained by Fox 5 claim Tara died of strangulation, stab wounds to the neck, and blunt force trauma to the head. Faust has dozens of arrests documented in Athens Clark County. According to court records, less than a month after Tara was killed in 2001, Faust was arrested and pleaded guilty to aggravated assault for cutting someone's neck. Faust's arrest comes just months after the GBI partnered with Athens Clark County Police to review Tara's case in September of last year.
Today is not necessarily a celebration, but it is certainly a moment of gratitude, right? Because this is the first step in justice for Tara, which is exactly what we've been advocating for.
Cameron J. Harrelson has followed Tara's case for years on his Classic City Crime podcast. He helped push lawmakers to pass the Cameron Baker Act last year, which set up a 10-agent unit to solve cold cases. He's also been in close touch with Tara's family.
Their hearts are filled with gratitude, but their hearts are also breaking. With this news, of course, comes the realization that, yes, someone will be ultimately held accountable for Tara's death. But also with this news comes the fact that they will now learn the real truth of what happened 23 years ago.
While the GBI hasn't said exactly what sort of evidence led to this arrest, Harrelson hopes Tara's case gives other families of cold case victims hope that justice can still be served.
If we put time, effort, money, people, and resources into looking back at these old cases, we not only are going to bring justice for victims, but we're going to make sure that violent criminals are held accountable.
Now, we will hear from the GBI next week about exactly how they were able to tie Faust to Tara's case. A member of her family did tell our crews at the courthouse this morning that they hope law enforcement have arrested the right
News of a
man.
decades-old murder cold case appeared in a courtroom today. Athens Clark County police say Edric Faust killed Tara Baker more than 20 years ago and then burned down her apartment to cover up the crime. Atlanta News First, Adam Murphy tells us even though there has been an arrest, police still don't have a motive for the crime.
The motive in this case is still unclear, but here's what I can tell you. Last September, GBI's cold case unit partnered with other law enforcement agencies, including Athens Clark County Police Department, to conduct an in-depth review of the ongoing investigation into Baker's death, and it led to an arrest.
Mr. Faust, you are charged with 9 counts.
48-year-old Edric Lamont Faust made his first court appearance on Friday in a decades-old cold case. He's facing multiple charges, including murder, aggravated sodomy, and arson, in connection with the death of former UGA law student Tara Louise Baker. On January 19, 2001, firefighters found Baker's body after responding to a fire at her Athens apartment in the Deer Park community. The investigation determined that the fire was intentionally set, and investigators spent over 2 decades seeking answers in the case.
I do hope that this gives a lot of families across the state of Georgia hope.
Cameron J. is a family friend of the Bakers who started a podcast 2 years ago called Classic City Crime.
I'm going to turn it over for a few moments so that you can get a good idea of who Tara Louise Baker was.
His goal was to shed light on Baker's unsolved case.
What I believed was that by telling her story again and getting the public involved and getting law enforcement to realize that there was a movement to see justice and resolution, that we could shake the trees and that something could happen. And what a shock it was when something did happen.
The podcast led to a new state law establishing the GBI cold case unit last year. Soon after, agents arrested and charged Faust with Baker's murder. The Baker family released this statement saying, "Our family is eternally grateful to the cold case unit with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the Athens Clark County Police Department, and Federal Bureau of Investigation for their dedication and diligence in bringing us closer to the truth that has eluded us for 23 years.
There's going to be a lot of talk about the person who has now been arrested, but I hope that as we let the criminal justice system do its job, that we will all take a moment and pause to remember Tara this and her family life. has been through hell for 20+ years, and finally, because of DNA technology, breaking edge DNA technology, genetic genealogy, we have an answer. The
biological evidence, as police and GBI are referring to it as, and DNA science collaborate with investigation from multiple law enforcement sources. That would be the UGA police, the GBI, the Athens Clarke County police, and they solve this case. Amazingly, Alexis Tereszcuk, much like in Laken Riley, her defendant had an extensive rap sheet, but here, this guy, before the case was solved, after he rapes and murders Tara, he then goes and stabs a guy in the neck. I mean, his rap sheet is prolific, Alexis.
He has been in prison 2 separate times. He spent time in prison twice in the last 20 years. But you're exactly right. And the thing that I find concerning is that he did stab somebody.
Wait. You think he's been behind bars twice? Let's just go all the way back to 93. Battery, trespass, 2001, that had to be jail time. Aggravated assault, public indecency, like I want to see his penis? No. 2011 DUI, 2011 possession cocaine, another felony. 13 obstruction of a cop. Man, he's got some nerve to attack a cop. 2003 another felony that carries 20 to life, possession cocaine, intent to distribute. 2016 DUI, 2018 terroristic threats. 2019 aggravated stalking. Why, I wonder if he was stalking in the Chi Omega house or the law library. Stalking. 2022 battery, and now he's got another line for his resume, Alexis Tereszcuk.
And it was like a revolving door with him. You know, that you just said in March of 2022 he was arrested for battery, disorderly conduct, and criminal trespass. He pleaded guilty. Do you know what his punishment was? 50 hours of community service and 12 months probation. No jail time for that.
Okay, what was that for? On what offense?
Simple battery, disorderly conduct, and criminal trespass. But this is after his
with a record like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to Cheryl McCollum, did you have that? Did you hear that after 20 years of violent crimes, some judge who obviously does not know his own rear end from a hole in the ground gives him community service? Like, you want this guy next to you washing school buses in Athens, Georgia? No, you don't want that. But that's what a judge thought was okay. After he murders Tara, he then stabs another guy in the neck.
Right.
Does it never end, Cheryl?
And Nancy, this is one of those things that you have to keep, just teaching people. Nobody is going to rape and sodomize and bludgeon and stab to death one time. They're not. They're not going to stab this man in the neck and never do anything else. You're going to keep seeing this guy over and over and over until somebody says that's enough. You're done. You're going to be put away forever so that you can't hurt anybody else.
Let's take a look at his new charges again. Of course, there's murder. And now we're learning more about the evidence. This is where the DNA comes from. Aggravated sodomy. That's either oral or anal rape. First-degree arson, tampering with evidence. That means moving the body around or setting the place on fire. Concealing the death, that's the fire. Possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of attempt to commit felony. So was that COD and aggravated assault? To Dr. Kendall Crowns, renowned chief medical examiner, Tarrant County, if a body has been burned of all, let me just say soft tissue, and that's a nice way of saying skin, fat, muscle, how do you look at skeletonized bones that have been through a fire and determine that a knife or a blunt instrument was used?
So there can be marks left by the knives, in particular on the bones, that match up, or tool mark evidence that can be used to match up to a murder weapon.